Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're really getting into a giant of Italian food, Grana Padano DOP.
That's right. We've pulled together some great material insights from Consorzio Gourm.ie, details on the specific headtown 12-month aging, and a look at its ancient origins.
Exactly. And our goal here is pretty straightforward. Cut through the noise and give you, especially if you're an international buyer or in the food business, the essential stuff you need to know about this cheese.
Absolutely, because understanding Grana Padano DOP, where it comes from, how it's made, its characteristics, it's not just, appreciating good food.
No, it's more than that.
For professionals, it's about making smarter buying choices. It's about really getting the value it brings to the table in a global market.
Right. And to get that value, you kind of have to go back, way back, like 1,000 years or so, to the Po Valley.
And this is where it gets fascinating. The story starts with Cistercian monks.
Yeah, resourceful guys. Think about the area near Milan, Chiaraval Abbey, founded around 1135. These monks were like terraforming the place.
They really were. They were reclaiming land in the Po Valley, which was pretty marshy back then. And this huge effort led to, a lot more grass, more cows.
And a ton more milk.
Yeah.
Suddenly they had this abundance.
A surplus. And that created a problem, or rather a challenge. How do you keep all this milk from spoiling?
Exactly. So necessity being the mother of invention, right? The monks came up with this pretty brilliant method.
It involved long, slow cooking in big copper cauldrons, specifically.
Copper, right? Then adding rennet, carefully salting the curd, and then the key part, aging it for a long time in the monastery cellars.
Which were cool and dark, perfect for it. This was totally different from making fresh cheese. It created something hard, something grainy.
Yeah, granular, which is where the name comes from eventually. But first they called it caseus vitus.
Meaning old cheese makes sense.
But grana stuck because of that texture. And as it got popular, different areas started making their own versions.
Right, you had Grana Lodigiano, people often say that's the oldest, but also Milanese, Piacentino, Mantovano versions cropping up.
So even back then, you start seeing these regional nuances. From a buyer's point of view, that's interesting, isn't it? A solution to a local problem becomes a product with distinct identities.
Definitely. And it wasn't just peasant food either. It gained respect pretty quickly.
Yeah, there's that story about Isabella d'Este, famous Renaissance figure.
From Mantua.
She apparently gave it as a gift in 1504. Which tells you something, right? It was already seen as high quality, a delicacy, but also something ordinary people relied on.
That early acceptance really speaks volumes about its quality and unique character. It had staying power, even then.
Okay, so let's fast forward. Let's connect that history to today. We need to talk about modern producers who carry on this tradition. La Tria Sociale San Lazzaro is a great example.
Founded much later, of course, 1962, in Cistercian, which is in Alto Mantovano, right near Brescia.
Started small, just 11 founding members, but they were dedicated, focused on that Grana Padano DOP quality from the start.
And for today's buyers, what's key about San Lazzaro is their mix of tradition and, modern methods.
Like the robotic milking.
Exactly. About 75% of their milk comes from farms using it. That points to really high hygiene standards, efficient farm management, things that matter for consistent quality.
And consistency is huge in the international market. Their cheese has a reputation too, especially down south in Italy.
Known for a balanced structure, rich flavor, which comes down to, carefully selecting the milk, meticulous production.
That regional preference within Italy itself is kind of a useful indicator for international buyers, maybe, showing how different tastes respond.
Could be, yeah. And they're not small scale anymore. They can store around 40,000 wheels.
Wow, that's a lot of cheese.
It is. And importantly, there's a generational shift happening. The founders' sons are taking over.
Which signals stability, right? Long-term commitment. Good for international partners looking for reliable suppliers who know their stuff and aren't going anywhere.
Especially since they're right there in Alto Mantovano, an area just steeped in cheesemaking history.
So looking at what they actually offer, Gourm.irt lists a few specific ages from La Tria San Lazzaro. This is relevant for you listeners.
Yes, there's the Grana Padano 12 months DOP, a 1516 months, and a longer-aged 20 months DOP.
Those different ages are really key, aren't they?
Absolutely key. Aging changes everything. Texture, flavor intensity. It means you can target different uses, different markets.
Let's zero in on that 12-month one for a second. Grana Padano 1012 Messy DOP. The name tells you a lot.
DOP, protected designation of origin. Hard Italian cheese, cooked, slowly aged.
And this is critical for anyone importing it. The DOP means it can only be made in very specific places.
32 provinces across 5 regions: Emilia-Romagna, Lombardy, Piedmont, Trentino-Alto Adige, where it's also called Trentino-Grana, and Veneto.
And everything has to happen there. Raising the cows, milking, making the cheese, aging it, even grading it if it's sold that way, all in the zone.
That geographical lock and the strict rules are frankly gold for international markets. It guarantees authenticity, it guarantees quality, traceability, it's your shield against fakes.
Can't overstate that. And for this specific type, the minimum aging is, well, it's in the name.
Usually around 12 months, yes. Gourm.a actually lists Latteria Sociale San Lazzaro, another one called Latteria Sociale San Pietro, and Gourm.a itself as sources for this age.
Origin, Italy. Specifically Lombardy for these producers. Milk, cow's milk. Basic facts, but vital.
Vital for compliance, for giving your own customers accurate info. You need that documentation trail.
And practical point for buyers. Formats, you can get this 10, 12-month Grana Padano in different ways.
Oh, yeah, not just the massive whole wheels, half wheels, quarter wheels, or eighths, like a 4-kilogram piece, then smaller cuts too.
Down to 1 kilogram, 500 grams, even 300-gram packs for retail. That flexibility is important.
It shows they understand different market needs. Wholesale, food service, direct to consumer. They've got options. It makes it easier for distributors and retailers internationally.
It's just amazing how that history we started with, the monks and all, it flows right into what producers like Latteria San Lazzaro are doing today.
Yeah.
It's like an unbroken chain.
It really is. That link between the ingenuity back then, the specific land of the Po Valley, and this ongoing passion for quality, that's what defines Grana Padano DOP. It's why it still resonates globally.
And places like Gourm.it help maintain that standard. They bring producers like San Lazzaro into their consortium, reinforcing that commitment to authenticity, to excellence.
They're a great resource. For listeners wanting to connect directly, Gourm.it is in Pagognaga, Mantua.
Right. The address is Viale San Lorenzo, 4046020, Pagognaga. Phone is +39 0376 559 539.
And email info@gourm.it. These contacts are really valuable for buyers wanting to build relationships or just get solid info straight from the source.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. Key takeaway for our listeners, especially the international buyers and food pros. Grana Padano DOP isn't just another cheese.
Not by a long shot. It carries almost 1,000 years of history, born from monastic innovation in a specific place, the Po Valley.
And modern producers like Latteria Sociale San Lazzaro we talked about, they're custodians of that legacy. They blend tradition with modern quality control.
And the DOP label is your guarantee. It means authentic origin, verified production methods, consistent quality. In a crowded market, that builds trust. It sets it apart.
Definitely. So here's something to chew on, a final thought for you as you operate in the global food world. Given this incredibly long history, this deep connection to a specific Italian region, how does that unique story, the whole DOP framework, actually shape how Grana Padano is perceived and valued in different countries?
That's a great question. How does that heritage really differentiate it from other hard cheeses out there in the eyes of consumers and chefs worldwide?
Something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.